So how exactly does a rudder work? This here is the servo pendulum to our wind vane steering, our monitor. This is how a spade rudder is on a regular sailboat. You have the rudder post comes down, which is this guy, and here's the rudder that hangs, completely supported by it. There's no other attachments on this. Now, this is good because you have all the performance. It's bad because if something hits it, this is all unsupported. It's going to break, and it's going to break right here on a boat. So when you turn the rudder this way, for example, the rudder's like this, and it turns on its axis, which is here. This is going this way, so now water that hits it is going to be pushed this way, and it's also going to create a low pressure area on the other side, which is going to pull it. So all of these things working together are going to pull the rudder along and then turn the boat. Now this is why it's nice to have a rudder post that's mounted a little aft of the leading edge. By having a little bit of leading edge before the trailing edge, you have counteraction, as this leading edge goes in the opposite direction because it's a lever. When it goes in the opposite direction, now this is actually being pushed down by the oncoming water, and that's going to help hold it there and make it a lot lighter on the helm. The other thing is the airfoil shape. This is super important. Now, really cheap rudders, they'll just be square and it'll be a flat line that runs. That's all that does is direct water in one direction or the other. It doesn't work as a foil, and it doesn't create the lift that you really need to have on a rudder. If you don't have the lift, you're only working with half of the equation. You're only working with water being pushed. You're not pulling as well. So that's a really important distinction to make. When you're looking at a rudder, if it has a foil shape, you know it's better engineered. The other huge thing is the trailing edge. The trailing edge, ideally you want it to be as thin as possible. That way it just comes together and off it goes. That'll give you the least amount of drag and give you the best performance. The problem is a really thin leading edge is going to break a lot. Unless you're working with a metal rudder or you're willing to do a lot of repairs, you're going to have a thicker trailing edge because it's the compromise. You get durability or performance. And now this is going into wind steering. I like the servo pendulum because I feel that they work the best. I feel that they're the best engineered wind steering systems, because there's the other type where the wind paddle simply turns this, and this is supposed to be the rudder for the whole boat. Now that's assuming that this is the perfect rudder and can move any size boat, no issues at all. And it completely discounts the fact that the naval architect thought about where he wanted the rudder placed, how big it is, what angle it sits, all those factors. It just completely ignores that and says that they know best and they make the perfect rudder. Now that's like with the hydrovane. They are, the paddle spins, or the paddle flops around and then the rudder turns. It's completely independent from your steering. The monitor and other servo pendulum systems, this just actuates and makes the rudder of the boat move. With a servo pendulum wind steering system like monitors, Aries, all those other types, this isn't the rudder. This simply provides force to then turn the boat's rudder, which was engineered by a naval architect to be the best rudder for that boat. The other type, where the wind steering simply turns this and this is supposed to be the rudder, like on hydrovanes, what they're saying is that they can engineer a universal rudder that is better than any naval architect designed for the boat specifically. The sad thing is, since it doesn't really work that way, a lot of times they recommend using wind steering systems like the hydrovane, where this is the rudder, in conjunction with electric autopilot to use the boat's rudder to help hold the course, because when the wind pipes up, they can't really keep control of some boats because it's not a one-size-fits-all. Rudders are engineered for that specific boat. Where the servo pendulum type, they are not the rudder. They're simply a way to activate the rudder of the boat and make the boat steer itself with its own rudder that it was built to have. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.
And if you'd like to follow our journey in real time on a map, receive postcards from our ports of call, and message us directly to the boat, you can go ahead and become a patron using the link in the description down below.